Welcome to Double Barrel Non-Duality on this channel, Simply Always Awake. We do this once a month, and the live viewing and question asking is available to sustaining members and above on my channel. And then this will be released to the public. So anyone asking questions, as you know, it will be released for public viewing. Pretty simple. Just raise your hand and think under the little react thing down there or something. There's a little hand raisey deal. Raise your hand and I'll call on you. And then myself and the co-host will answer your question. We may both answer it. One of us may answer it. We may tag team. And this month's guest question answerer is someone you know and love. You've seen her before. Now you're going to see her answering your questions. Her name is Lubaina. Hello, Lubaina.
Hi, I was looking for the best lighting in my apartment, so I had to move last second. 1 minute.
No problem. No problem. Take your time. All right. So, yeah, if anybody wants to raise your hand. Oh, I should also say for sustaining members and above, we do the double barrel every month. We also do a live on YouTube. If anybody is curious who has that sustaining membership level, where to find information on this, always look at the community tab. The way you find that is any video you see of mine, just click on Simply Always Awake below the video, which is the channel name. You'll be led directly to my main channel page. And on my main channel page, you'll see tabs across the top. One of them says community. Click on the community tab. And towards the beginning of the month, I usually post the announcements for Double Barrel Non-Duality as well as the YouTube Live. So always check those. I get a lot of questions about these still, but that's the number one place to look. So, okay. And also please keep yourself muted unless you're talking. Otherwise, I'll get like sound effects in the middle of the edit and you'll see people's face pop up randomly when someone's talking. So we will start with Federico.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Federico.
Can you hear me?
I can. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. It's always great to be here. It's good to see Lubaina on the other end. Yeah. So let's see how this goes. Uh, this is like weird to explain, but let's see how it goes. I think I'm starting to get a little frustrated with the fact that like I feel like there's two versions of me. The one that when sits down and just has like meditation in mind and the goal to feel everything that's going on, that one feels great. Like in that moment, whatever emotion comes, like 80% of it can be like equanimous and just good feeling. A bit is still a struggle, but in that moment, like it's not that big of a deal. But then there's like the other me that's 95% of the time alive. That is the one that's running around completely mind identified and suffering. And when I'm not able to just sit down and do the techniques, like that one is really struggling. And that one is starting to get really frustrated that I don't know what else to do. Like, I've read the book, I know all the techniques. Yeah, I'm here every month. Uh, been to the retreats, been working with Chelsea and Josh. And yeah, like it's frustrating because I feel good when I'm able to do stuff, but 95% of the time is just suffering and frustration, and I don't know how to handle that.
Okay. Lubaina, did you want to start with this or would you like me to start?
I can start.
Okay.
Hi, Federico. So,
I
I, as I was getting ready for the double barrel, you popped into my head. So it's funny that you're the first question. So here we are. Hi. The thing that touches me about what you're saying is you said frustration over and over again, right? What
yeah, I am.
Yeah, that's your doorway.
Hmm.
Sit with that frustration. Where do you feel that in your body?
Mm, I don't know. Like I can feel it both, like in the stomach tension
Uh-huh.
and just like contraction, like
Okay. Would you want to try something with me?
yeah.
Okay, close your eyes and feel into that contraction. And let the thoughts come as they're coming and see if you can be with that contraction for, yeah, that's good. Move however it feels natural for you to move. Feel the resistance fully. Yeah. What happens if you embrace the frustration?
Mm,
It doesn't have to be an answer.
it's good. Like there's no trouble there.
I completely understand how it is to feel very frustrated. Be with that sensation of frustration in your body. That'll be your doorway.
Yeah. The issue here is that that's great. Like I can feel how that's that doorway, and like there's no frustration about the frustration right now, right? And
Mhm.
this is what happens every time. Like every time I see it and just like do the something. I don't know how to describe it. I just do the thing, like it works. But like, why doesn't this like become permanent? Like I don't know.
Okay.
What should I do to just like
So
95% of the time this doesn't feel good, you know?
so that's the second part of this. Ask yourself, why does it need to feel good?
Mm.
What's wrong with it as it is? What's wrong with being frustrated? Perhaps there's a belief around this.
Mhm.
I would investigate that.
Yeah, I know for sure that prevailing belief that I have about awakening and all this process is that you should like overcome those bad emotions, and the bad emotions don't feel bad anymore. And it's weird to overcome that belief and hard because they really don't feel bad when you are in that like awakened state. So how could I overcome that belief if it's really true, you know?
So, what I would point you towards is investigating why you feel like it's, to me, it feels like you feel like there's something wrong with frustration.
Mhm,
If
mhm.
if if we are in unconditional love, which for me that's awakening, then how can unconditional love leave out your frustration? Why would that be left out? It's unconditional.
Mhm,
As much as you can, what I would do is as you're going about your day, just doing your thing, I would carry that frustration,
mhm,
treat it like it's a precious gift, like it's a baby that I have to, like a fussy baby that's just like crying, colicky, and you have to hold it because it wants your attention.
mhm.
So with a fussy baby, you wouldn't like tell it to. be happy. You would just be with it, right? You would do everything in your power to make the fussy baby feel comfortable. So your frustration is your fussy baby.
Hmm.
That's what I got.
Yeah, thank you.
Federico, I just have a couple things to add. Her pointing was spot on. Couldn't have said it better myself, for sure. The only things I'll add, one is on the Zendo wall in my house, there's a Japanese calligraphy scroll and it says enter here. And all that means is that the entry point is always right here. So if there's frustration, that is the highest teaching, it's the highest practice, it's the highest inquiry, it's the greatest gift you could have. The frustration you're feeling right now and the confusion about the frustration and the beliefs about the frustration, that's the highest gift you could be given, period. Right. So you can't always fully believe that, but you can trust the spirit of it, right? And that's really how this works. And that's exactly what Lubaina keyed in on immediately. She just said, go right into the frustration. The only other thing I will add, and you can sort of work with this as you want to, but when this is a very, very simple process, this emotion work, right? It's very, very simple. Um, yeah, but there are habituated responses that make it let's just say unnecessarily challenging or whatever. What makes it opaque, what makes it seem to drag on and whatever, it's really just habituated processes that we didn't choose to adopt, right? They're just there. And the habituated processes are, let's just call them coping mechanisms, and they come in various forms. When I was watching you with hearing what she said, and I'm watching you now, the two I see that you could consider. One is you were able to drop in, and then at some point, this thing started happening where I would call it storytelling. And the storytelling comes in the version of you that makes sense to you, that you believe. So you're like, hey, I've done this like so many times and I get this far, and then whatever happens. The only thing that's happening is you're believing your own story at that point. But just understand, don't worry about the complexity of that. Just understand all that is a relief valve. That's just a habit trying to take you out of the sensation. The sensation's right there. It's not going anywhere, for the moment. And so just notice what happens. We try to get away. So we get away through thought, through storytelling, even the bad story, even if it's the worst story in the world, we will tell ourselves that story to get away from the emotion. It's crazy that we do it because there's actually no reason for it, but it is habituated. So that's one thing I saw. The other one is movement, as she said, can be helpful to like process like vasana sometimes and so forth. Other times it can actually be a little bit of an escape. This is where you have to feel into it yourself and just see. Sometimes just making sure the body stays still and just going, okay, don't run. Just stay with it. Just stay with it. Don't tell a story. Don't go into the mind. Don't like over process it physically. Just stay with that like thread of like it's actually kind of like raw discomfort in a way because it's where we've habitually not gone. That's all you're called to do one way or another. So that's all I had to add.
Yeah, yeah,
And
thank you. That's great. Yeah,
and
no,
nothing is
go ahead.
permanent. That's the last thing. Nothing's permanent. Permanent is a thought, a concept that'll just trip up the mind. It'll get you all up in your head about. There's no such thing as permanent. It's one of the
Hmm.
Dharma seals in Buddhism.
Mm, with permanent, you mean like you're saying it just to so I can understand that nothing bad is permanent, or also that there's no state of presence that's permanent.
Correct. Both. Permanence as an
Oh,
idea, as a concept, it's literally a concept. You're not going to find it in immediate experience. It's it's
ooh,
a it's
ooh.
a it's a more distorting concept than most people realize because it has to do with
E-
time. It's a time, it's a form of a drug called time that you may not recognize. Just like cocaine can come in different forms, right? Crack cocaine and powdered cocaine. This is a drug, time, and it comes in different forms. Sometimes it's called I only have a certain amount of time in the day to do everything, so I feel like I'm under pressure. Sometimes it's called when will this end? Sometimes it's called soon. Sometimes it's called not enough time. Sometimes it's called when will this be permanent? When will this realization be permanent? All of those are just forms of a drug. The reason they're uncomfortable isn't because of what they seem to point to, because what they seem to point to doesn't exist. They're uncomfortable because you're believing a thought that's not real. So when you're uncomfortable with the thought that says, when is this going to be permanent? It's not because it's not permanent that you're uncomfortable. It's because you believe it should be, because you believe it's a possibility. So that's why impermanence as a sort of teaching, a dharma seal in Mahayana Buddhism and in like the Pali Canon, there are descriptions of this as well, of impermanence being one of the basic sort of tenets. It's an antidote. It's an antidote to a way that we think chronically about permanence, that we're trying to get somewhere permanently. Cool.
Wow, that last thing is crazy.
You don't need permanence. You don't need a concept of it. You don't need to believe in it. It doesn't exist. It's like you've been looking for something that never existed, but you made it up in the first place. Well, we all made it up. It's not like you did it personally. Yeah.
So yeah, I think my mind breaks when trying to understand how is it possible that presence is not permanent, you know?
Yeah. But when you combine that with what Lubaina was pointing you to, the sensation in the moment,
Hmm.
it's very
Yeah.
easy to stay with the sensation for an indeterminate, infinite, minuscule slice of eternity. There's no time to that. You don't have to hold yourself to a time frame. If the mind is going, oh, how long do I'm going to feel this? How long am I going to feel this? How long am I going to feel this? That's the dark side of the idea that permanently I'm going to feel better. No, no. What you're doing is you're reinforcing the sense that you feel bad right now through the use of the illusion of time. Just touch in. That's all you have to do. That's all you're called to do is touch in. Don't worry how long it takes or how long. Just trust it. Trust the process. Trust what's happening right now. And it'll take you right in there. Just takes you right in.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you both.
Good man.